everyone. Welcome to the show. This is the Highest and Best You podcast, a show about people who are thriving to reach their maximum potential. Each week, we sit down with somebody in or around the real estate industry to learn about what they're doing to reach their highest and best. I'm your host, Jake Verna, and I am with VRA Realty. And this podcast is brought to you by VRA Realty. So go check out VRARealty.com, at VRA Realty on Instagram, and check me out at Jake.Verna while you're at it, or Jake Verna on Facebook, whatever you want to do. Today on the show, we're talking to Pratiti. I don't know your last name.
Pathak.
Pratiti Pathak. Pratiti, welcome on.
Thank you.
We have a lot to unpack with you. I don't really know you, this is the first on the podcast. I think everyone that's been on so far I've known them. I've kind of known their story, so it's really easy for me to kind of unpack their story. We've talked before, and we talked. It was like happy hours, so it was like me and you were just both like,
oh. So you probably forgot a lot because you were drinking.
I don't drink.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, Sprite. Sorry.
No, but I mean,
I was drinking, so I don't even know what I told you. So.
No, but I've heard since we scheduled this podcast, I've talked to a couple people. I'm like, I have a podcast with Pratiti, and they're like, do you know her story? And I was like, oh, story. So I want to know the Pratiti story. So first, the first question I'm going to ask you in alignment with the show is I want you to tell me, what are you doing to be your highest and best?
You know, I do a lot of things to be my highest and best. One of the things that I very much, we could do the whole entire podcast around this. I am very much about morning routines and evening routines. So when it comes to your highest and best, I really do believe that you have to start at 100%. So I start with an amazing morning routine that gets me to 100% before I even introduce myself to the rest of the world. Yeah. Before I address anything else, I address me. And I think that is one of the things I do for the highest and best. But something that really fuels me for my highest and best is helping other people. So that's
awesome.
What I'm doing.
What's your morning routine look like?
Glad you asked. I'm somebody who likes to get up at like 4:30 in the morning. I get up, brush my teeth, get my coffee, hit my diffuser, and then I meditate. I jump up, get dressed, go to the gym, work out, come back. As I'm getting ready, do my hair and my makeup, just my morning routine. I give myself 30 minutes to listen to something positive, like an amazing podcast or an audiobook that I'm working on or listening to. And then I literally sit down and do my coaching work for myself, my self-coaching that I teach others to do. And then I start my day.
I love that. I've heard a lot about meditation. I don't meditate myself. I've never tried it. I've been recommended to do it a million times. But how much do you think meditation has played into helping you in your morning routine?
Huge. And I got to tell you, I'm just like you for a majority of my life, and I am Indian. If anybody's watching this, they'll see that I'm Indian. I literally struggled so much with thinking I couldn't meditate. I'm like, shouldn't this just be an automatic, natural thing? I'm Indian, for God's sakes. I should be able to meditate. But I did not. I couldn't deal with the guided meditation. I had tried Headspace. I tried a lot of different things, but I felt like my mind was always wandering. Mm-hmm. And I think like 2019, literally right before 2020 shut down, I had learned about transcendental meditation. And I was like, that's amazing, because it said, hey, anybody could do this. Even if you're 10 years old, we could teach you how to do it. And I was just like, prove it. So you have to pay, and you're like part of like a log. Transcendental meditation is just basically about diving deep inside your brain. But that's where it started for me. And I will tell you that in real estate or any financial situation, we always talk about the return on investment. Mm-hmm. It's huge. That 20 minutes or 30 minutes that you invest in meditating, even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes, the return is huge, right? It allows me to show up with peace, patience, kindness to other people and myself. So I think it gets you into the flow faster. Your brain's so much more clear when you're calm. Yeah. Rather than when you're,
because it can get stressful out there. Yeah. We'll talk about brain drama, but it can get stressful out there. So I mean, that's first of all, 4:30 in the morning is amazing.
Yeah.
I struggle with 5:30. I'm usually a 6 o'clock guy.
I've always been a 5 a.m. gym girl. Yeah. So
I'm definitely a morning person. I'm a huge believer that me personally, I found this out after doing some coaching, but the majority and the most important stuff needs to get done in the morning, or else I feel like I wasted my day and I'm less, productive in the afternoon. So.
But you're like me. Your brain is on fire first thing in the morning. Some people are like, don't talk to me until 9 o'clock. No. I'm like, that's not real, right?
No.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're just telling yourself that story that you're not a morning person.
Yeah.
What if you just drop that story?
It's that simple.
Yeah, sometimes.
The morning is the best. And you said you have a nighttime routine?
Yeah, I think that the nighttime routine is like your morning routine determines the success of your day, but the success of your morning routine is determined by your nighttime routine. Mm-hmm. What are you doing at the end of the day to prepare for tomorrow? Like get your clothes ready. Mm-hmm. If you're a woman, get your accessories that go with your clothes, your jewelry, your shoes. A lot of times you're like, I know what I'm going to wear tomorrow, but then the shoes don't. You can't figure out that part out. It just spends the whole time. Right, yeah, messes you up. But get your food protocol together. Get your, what you're going to take to the gym. Like have your stuff waiting for you ready to go so you're not looking for it.
Great. So that's your night and
get yourself
your morning.
Prepared for having a good night's sleep.
Oh, sleep's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your working day look like?
Okay. So do you want to know real estate or do you want to know
I want to know everything.
I want to know all of it.
Yeah, tell me everything.
So can I give you a little bit of backstory?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I am a realtor and I'm also a life coach. I'm a certified life and resilience coach. That's my niche when it comes to coaching, but I started out as a time creation coach specifically for realtors because we're always struggling with time.
Everybody is.
I know. So I originally went to school for criminal justice and psychology and then decided I didn't want to be in that emotional space every day. Ended up in aerospace for many years. And at the time I was married and my husband struggled with anxiety and panic. He's Italian. He owned a couple of pizza shops and was struggling with being able to get there. So after, maybe almost a year after 9/11, my company closed and filed Chapter 11. And at that time, I kind of said to my husband, I said, hey, whatever you want to do, I'll help you do it. And being a good Italian, he knows how to prepare food and he knows how to build stuff. So he said construction. So I was like, okay, shit. I don't know anything about construction, but I definitely know business. And I learned how to do brickwork, block work, roofing, siding. I can finish concrete myself today,
Very
tile,
cool.
drywall. I don't let men spackle for me today. So I learned how to do all of the work, and honestly, I really loved it. I loved the
it's
flips. Fun. I just loved the before and after of everything is what I realized. And then we divorced in 2007. I started my own painting business as an interior-exterior painter, and that was even more successful than the construction, even though the market was starting to hit us at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And I know a lot of people were struggling, but I knew a lot of builders and they don't like painting. So they were happy to give all of their paint work to me exclusively. I did really well. 2009, the market was really hitting us and they started taking some of their work back just to keep their own guys busy.
Oh, yeah.
And at that time, I had also lost my only child. My son had a fatal accident. He was 17. And he would have just turned 33 a few weeks ago, last week of December. So it was definitely a time of my life that was a huge transition. Talk about life experiences that you go through.
Oh my God, yeah.
I definitely had to figure out how I was going to live through it, let alone grow through it.
Yeah.
So it was just a really tough time. And then in 2012, I had found some really great support. I had found some really great grief coach, and real estate was struggling. And there was a real estate class being offered by Weicker, and I was like, yes, because I'd always wanted to do real estate.
Yeah.
And I already was in that space in just different ways.
Right.
So I loved the thought of being in real estate and signed right up. But as soon as I got my license, or I was like 2 seconds away from getting my license, I got offered a position as a mortgage broker, a mortgage loan processor with a broker. And I was like, yes, I would love to learn that part because then I will have knowledge about everything.
Full circle, yeah.
Yeah. And the market was down, so it was a good opportunity for me to take that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, once the market comes back up, like I will be in full swing.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I did. And I signed up with a brokerage finally. I was only there for about a year. I was with Long & Foster for about a year. And then I went over to Keller Williams, and I just absolutely loved the training. I was introduced to Buffini, and that spoke my language, because what I had noticed is whether I was in construction, painting, real estate, all my customers became my coaching, or my construction customers became my painting customers, and then they became my real estate clients. And then even now they're, I've coached a lot of them. So they just know who I am in business. They just know who I am as a businesswoman. So whatever I'm doing, they just seem to follow. And Buffini spoke to me because it was more to me, no matter what you're doing in business, I think the main thing that you're really doing is creating relationships.
What's Buffini?
Buffini and Company is they have a CRM, but it is a system.
Okay.
It's basically a retention system for your clients, right? So in the CRM, you're putting in your whole database, and you're touching people, your clients, in several different ways. So you are sending them a piece of value every single month that has to do with home ownership, not just jamming real estate down their throat, but home ownership. And then an email goes out that correlates along with that halfway through the month. And then all throughout the month, I'm sending out personal handwritten note cards to keep in touch, to say, hey, how was your vacation? Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Sorry you broke your leg. How's the dog? How are the kids? And then all in between that, I am literally popping by their homes with a small little gift item. Maybe during back to school, I might be stopping by with a little kid pack for, an eraser and pencil and ruler and scissors and stuff like that. But also during the year, I might be, like for Mother's Day, something that really connects me is I hand deliver a flower to every mother on my database, which is just an awesome way for me to acknowledge them as mothers. But it's even so much more selfish. I get a bunch of Happy Mother's Days, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so that feels amazing. During the Father's Day, I drop off little McCormick seasonings. Like, nice. I'm your seasoned professional with all your, with all your real estate needs. But it's always got some cool little tag like that just to keep you at top of mind.
So do you still use this Buffini and Company thing?
I use the system for everything I do, but it was in alignment with me because that's what I've always done.
Right.
Calling people up and saying, hey, how you doing? Even through the pandemic, I would call them on the coaching side because I want to know how they're handling the situation, or what's their situation.
That's something, that's a lot of, first of all, it's a lot of value, and that's very good for what you're doing for your clients. And I think the people listening need to take that in and maybe try it for themselves, because that's a lot. It's a big part of people. They don't make enough touches. And then they're like, well, why did that person that I...
And it's personal touches.
Right.
I think that's the difference. But you know what is so interesting to me is like life, the universe has just been channeling me, right? Each thing led into the next thing. Yep. But what I did notice is what I love the most is helping people grow through what they go through. Yeah. And when I say that, it really relates to real estate, because what triggers somebody buying or selling a house?
There's always something that triggers it. It's
a life transition, whether you're getting a new job, relocating, you're getting married, you're getting divorced, you're having babies and you're growing your family, or they're moving out and you're becoming empty nesters, right? So all the same reasons that I work with people in real estate, right? What I notice is buying and selling houses can be stressful, and mainly it's because, not just because of the financial part of it, but I think it's not stressful if it's just your second and third home and it's just a luxury thing.
Right.
It's stressful because you're going through a life transition. Yeah. Right? You're going through becoming an empty nester, and it's sad, and your kids are not there, and you feel lonely. Yeah. Right? Maybe you're going through a divorce, and that is triggering you moving out of the house that you raised your kids in. Right. And what I noticed is I was always talking them off the ledge there. I was always being their coach through that process. So the next transition just made sense, and it hit me around 2018. I was literally spinning myself out of control because, and I didn't know why, but my 50th birthday was coming up and my 10-year anniversary for my son's loss was coming up. I was coming up on 10 years of being in my relationship where I didn't think it was where it should be, right? That's one of the key words that get us into trouble is where we have our expectation of things. And I just started spiraling. And I didn't know why. I was emotionally struggling, because these things were kind of running on in the background. But it was right at that time that I found the life coach school, and it changed my life, and podcasting and all that.
So you mentioned, we talked a little bit before the show about the fact that you're a resilience coach, and when you were talking when you're making these touches to your clients, a lot of times you're acting as their coach through getting through these life situations. Is that formal? Is it informal? Or is it just from experience that you can offer this?
Yeah, you know what? I think that when I meet people, I think one of my true gifts is just being able to connect with people instantly on a very deep, connected level. And it's probably just because I share so much intimately about myself that automatically allows them to open up.
Right.
So it doesn't feel formal. It feels very comfortable, like we're friends.
Yeah.
Even though I'm your realtor, it doesn't feel like I'm your realtor. It just feels like you're my girlfriend, and
just going to check out
not
houses?
my client. Yeah, we're just.
Yeah.
I mean,
that always helps, though.
Even the first time I meet somebody, I'm going to probably give them a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. So you mentioned Long and Foster. You mentioned KW, but you are at VRA Realty. You joined VRA Realty maybe a little bit over a year ago.
It's just coming up on a year,
Okay.
actually. And the main draw, the main lure for VRA, because I didn't really know that they existed.
Yeah. We're very small.
Right? But... well, you're growing like crazy. We are growing like crazy.
That's right.
One of the things, the main thing is the investment side of it, because when I first became a real estate agent,
having that construction background.
Yes, but I was in Chester County, and I am from Bucks County. Okay. I had only moved out to Chester County in 2013. So I didn't know anybody out here. Like, I had to recreate all my peeps. I was in the same area for 35 years. I knew everybody. That was easy, right? But I had to rebuild my database out here and my community. So I was in a program called Bold with KW, and I was just like, oh, this guy was like really killing. I'm like, how are you meeting all these people? And he told me about meetups. So I started going to meetups. And then I decided to organize a meetup. So I started to be, so I named my meetup Buying, Selling, and Investing in Real Estate, which is so...
That's the most basic
Everybody's
thing
always like, do you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate?
Oh, yeah.
So what I found, though, what was fascinating is I had so many guys walking in, handing me their business card, and they were like, yes, I'd like to flip homes. I'm like, well, that's amazing. Well, how many have you flipped so far? And they were like, oh, I haven't. No. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. So what do you do for work? What's driving this desire to flip houses? Are you in construction? Like, do you do drywall? Are you a rock guy? Like, what are you? You're an electrician? Oh, no, I drive for UPS. I'm like, what? Like, it was just crazy to me. I'm like, oh, clearly a lot of people are just watching a whole shit ton of HGTV. Right? So it looks very appealing, right?
Oh,
Chip and Joanna Gaines make it look easy.
Oh, they make it look so
right?
easy.
So that really triggered me to start doing workshops based off of Gary Keller's book, Millionaire Real Estate Investor, because I really wanted to educate people in the investment process. Like, what do you look for in an investment property? How do you know if this is a property that you want to hold or you want to flip
for a profit,
right? And people tend to think that you have to be in the right place at the right time. None of that is true. You just have to know your numbers and find your right place.
Absolutely.
And then just keep your eye on it. So when you see it, it's like a no-brainer.
Yep.
Right. So that was amazing when I did that. I was like shaking in my shoes and sweating in my dress. And then I just opened up and started speaking. But I was like, I'm going to just take this show on the road and take it to my Bucks County contractors,
Oh,
and so it was pretty cool.
Trying to teach about, and then you're getting clients out of it.
I got really long term because investors
are the best
clients. They're constantly buying and selling. Like, hello.
Oh my God! And every agent says the same thing. They're like, literally, buy. Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest?
Yeah.
And then they get the investor client,
and they don't know what to do with them.
They don't know what.
And because they've never been in that space, probably.
Right.
And so my house that I'm in right now, it's an old farmhouse, and it was a water damage, mold damage property.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a complete renovation. We actually did the mold remediation, and at the time, my partner was like, can we do this? I said, well, I can, but you're going to, and,
no faith.
because at that time I was literally just jumping into real estate, and I was also still working 10 hours a day in the mortgage business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still doing paint jobs because I still love paint jobs. I mean, I'm in my head.
You just love money, I think.
Whatever. I don't say no. I don't say no to that kind of stuff. And it was just amazing, to do that flip for yourself and be living in it. My father's an architect, and he's retired now, but him and I had been on jobs together, and that's not really fun all the time because we butt heads, right? Oh, yeah. He's like, I drew it. I'm like, and it doesn't work, and that was a struggle. So, but I've just learned so much through all of this, and I've taken that into my coaching practice because all of that flipping, investment, buying, selling, raising family, losing family, it all comes down to the same thing, which is managing your thoughts.
Unpacking brain drama.
Yeah.
I wanted to say trauma again.
I know.
Unpacking brain drama is your podcast.
Yeah.
Start by explaining the name.
Oh, man. If you're a human with a brain, you have drama. And usually, what is keeping us from ever figuring anything out, right? We have to, in order to make changes, we have to first be aware of what's currently going on, right? So people talk a lot about mind shift and mindset and, positive thinking and all that kind of stuff is really great. Affirmations, they don't work sometimes, right? Affirmations don't work. Why?
Because you don't believe
Because your brain has to believe in the bullshit you're trying to sell it right now.
Sure.
And if you go from like, I have a fat, ugly body to I love my body, it just, your brain's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't. And that's the reason it doesn't work. You can say I'm a money magnet all day long, but if you have really deep down scarcity mindset, lack, which I did because I grew up in a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Coming from a third world country, I came here when I was 2, but my parents, were teaching me the mindset around money.
Right.
And if you don't think money really comes easily, you can't think you're a magnet. So one of the things I really do like is something I call ladder thoughts or going through neutral. And that really sounds like this. You can go from like, I'll give you a personal example that I give all the time. I have always struggled with social media marketing. Why? Because when I'm in real estate, the marketing's easy because the market makes the marketing material for me. As a coach, I have to create all my own content.
Sure.
Number one, my first introduction to social media was when I lost my son. And it was 2009. Facebook was brand new. I wasn't on it. So this was now a place that I go to read everything that people are writing.
Right.
It wasn't a positive place for me. It wasn't a place that spoke success and profession.
No.
Right? So I didn't know that, but it was through coaching because for the longest time, I told myself I suck at marketing on social media. For as long as I continue to tell myself that and believe that, I'm going to continue to suck at it, right? Because it's what you're thinking creates how you're feeling about it, drives and fuels all your action and inaction and reaction, and then creates your results. But one thought can't be, if I want to change that, now that I understand where it's coming from, I can have some compassion for myself. But once I understand that, I can't just go from I suck at it to I got this. It's never going to work. My brain's going to be like, no, you don't. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. You suck. That's what my brain's going to offer me.
Yeah.
And so how do I want to, what am I currently feeling? I feel dumb. I feel unprofessional. I feel incapable. So how do I want to feel? I want to feel smart. I want to feel capable at the very minimum. I want to feel capable.
But you're saying you need to be aware of that.
You have to, well, that's the coaching part, right? You have to be able to ask, like, why am I choosing to think I suck at it?
Yeah.
Tell me more about social media. Tell me more. Well, I don't know how to do it. Well, that makes sense. We've never, you don't know doesn't mean you suck at it.
Yeah.
Well, I've never done it before. Okay, but that means you never did it before, which is why you don't know how. It doesn't mean you suck at it.
Right.
Why are you choosing that? Tell me more about social media, Pratiti. Well, my first introduction was when Bevan had his accident.
Right.
And now I can.
First impression on it.
Of course, love. It makes sense on why you're blocking yourself from social media.
Right.
Now I have some awareness. So how do you want to feel? I want to feel capable at the minimum.
Yeah.
Right. I want to feel like I got this, but I'm not there yet. So what's a neutral thought? I'm learning how to do something new. That your brain can believe. I'm learning something new. I'm capable of learning something. I'm committed to learning how to market. Now my brain's like, okay, you're smart. You've learned other things before in the past. I believe you. And then from there, what are you going to do? Because before my thought was I suck at it. So what do you do when you feel dumb and you
curl up in a
that
ball and
you
go lay on the
avoid,
couch. Yes.
you procrastinate,
Exactly.
you what I call
Resist.
it procrastinating, where you check email and you do a bunch of other things that don't have anything to do with what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do if you have a thought that I'm committed to learning something new? Then I would probably feel capable. I would feel smart. I would feel professional. And what would you do when you felt that way, when you thought this? I would probably watch some tutorials.
Sure.
I'd probably call some of my colleagues or my assistant and ask them how to teach me how to do something. And then the result that I'm creating from there is I am learning something new, which your result will always reconfirm your original thought. So if you want to know the results, what is going on here, ask yourself what you're thinking about it.
Yeah. You're a really good coach.
Oh, thank
that was
you.
crazy. I've only ever heard a couple people do coaching sessions and seminars and stuff like that, and I don't think I've ever heard it put that way. So
Like, give you a full example.
Yeah, that was like a mind fuck.
But don't you see how just shifting that one sentence changes everything?
Yeah, because now I'm sitting over here. I'm like, what? I know what I'm gonna go do when I get home.
Do a thought download. Do a brain dump. Dump all your brain onto a piece of paper and take a look at it. And then you'll see a pattern, right? You'll see a pattern. There is a thought, feeling pattern that has, and behavior, right? That's I'm a cognitive behavioral coach.
All right.
Okay.
That'll have to be one-on-one.
There you go.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll sign you right up.
Oh, my goodness. So now you're here at VRA.
Yeah.
Trying to get back on topic now that my brain's all scattered from that.
See, we just unpacked brain drama.
Seriously, I'm in shock now, but I'm sorry. Plug yourself right now so people can reach out to you if they want that.
I have a podcast that I do as a Facebook Live every Thursday morning on my Results by Design coaching page, and it's from 11 to 11:30 in the morning every Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. And you can always reach me at Pratiti Pathak or Coach Pratiti on Instagram. Just look up Pratiti Pathak. It'll show up.
Make sure it's plugged. Yeah. What I was getting at, though, I just wanted to make sure, because if anyone's listening to that and they're like, if that hit them, I just want to make sure they can find you somehow. What I want to get into now is just how VRA has affected you since you've been here. I know you're a very outgoing person, so you become friends with everybody very quickly, which is amazing. We're a different kind of people. We're not as, I think somebody put it here, we're the misfits.
Who said we? Oh, you mean VRA?
That. Yeah, VRA.
Oh, wow.
Oh, not me and you.
Yeah. I didn't know who the we was.
No, like we here at VRA, like
Yeah.
we're the misfits. We're not meant to be held down over at that place down the road.
Down the road.
But we're the misfits. So how have you enjoyed it here?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and I want to rephrase that altogether. We are not misfits. We are the people who are aware, right? We want something. The people that come to here, and as I'm saying this, it's 111, by the way, which is, a gateway portal, 1111, 111. When you think about, wow, man, when you say misfits, it makes me think of like me being the black sheep, my whole life, or if you're like a forward thinker, you're not the norm. Okay. But the norm sucks. Mm. The norm is like the belt, you're just on that loop. Right? You do not want that. We are people that have more awareness and we want more and we know there's more to have. And we're willing to go for it, right? When I think about, I have a book club and right now we're in the middle of doing The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and it's all about breaking through those upper limits. You can't be here if you are one of those fleas in a bottle and you're not willing to jump and take the risk, right? Absolutely. I mean, I grew up in that scarcity mindset. I said, my parents were like, oh, you can't do that. That's too big of a, Pratiti, you can't do that. That's too much of a risk. I mean, my God, what are you doing? This is too hard. It's too terrible. You can't do that. So sorry, I had to. Okay. I couldn't help it. But the truth is, that blew my mind because it was coming from my parents who took the biggest risk of all. Like, you freaking left your country.
They came to America.
You left everything you knew in your 20s to a place you don't even know, right? They came here for like big opportunity and growth. They didn't know. My mom didn't even speak the language. She had to learn how to speak English and then go sell Avon so she could communicate and watch a bunch of soap operas to learn the slang,
Learn the American dream.
Right. But so when you think about us, we're not the misfits. We are people that recognize that there are bigger opportunities and we're willing to put ourselves out there because growth is uncomfortable.
Very.
And when you're on a growth journey, whether it's on a weight loss journey, whether you're trying to change your eating lifestyle, whether you're trying to grow personally, professionally, break out of whatever, like I say, I'm selling freedoms. Freedom from what? Stepping out of all those expectational boxes that culture, religion, society put you in. Yeah. Right? I'm a girl, I'm a boy, I was a tomboy. I played tackle football with guys. That was not normal. That for normal purposes. Yeah. But here at VRA, we embrace the thinking out of the box and being out of the norm. And our broker, I'll definitely give him a plug, Steve Seymour. He's brilliant. He's just a brilliant young man who way back in the day, I bought Carlton Sheets, the whole volume of Carlton Sheets. If anybody's not familiar with Carlton Sheets, it's all about buying a note. Okay. Buying the house note, and you can buy properties without even using your own money. That was like unheard of. And again, I'll just go right back into my parents. Like, they're like, that was just impossible. I didn't have an entrepreneurial brain in my life.
My parents say that now. I mean, it's like when I'm Steve told me I can buy a house with no money. They're like, you can't do that.
Idiot. He's lying to you.
Idiot.
Right. Yeah.
What are you doing? No, I completely understand.
But he is really a brilliant young man, and he speaks my language that I was looking for like 20, 30 years ago, and nobody around me even spoke that language. It was like foreign.
Yeah, so you want to do more. I love how the way you put it. We're not misfits. We're embracing it. What are you doing today?
I just did my podcast this morning, and today I was so stoked about being here with you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was exciting. What am I doing today? I have my book club meets every Saturday morning. So what?
So pause. I want to stop you right here. So it's 1:15 p.m. at this time right now. If your day ended today, like you didn't do anything else today, would you feel like your day was successful?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you did that morning routine. Yep. You did what you needed to accomplish.
Yes. I think the biggest goal for anybody who's listening, regardless of whether you're entertaining becoming a realtor, whether you're already a realtor, whether you're entertaining something else, really, the message I would like to send is like, if you are spending your days, hours, minutes being intentional about what you're doing, you don't need 8 hours. If it takes you 8 hours to do your job, you're not doing work. You're just slacking off. Yeah. Like, so when you're being intentional, you're deciding ahead of time, number one, right? I said I used to be a time creation coach. It's about like writing down your to-do list. What do I want to do today, tomorrow, next week, someday? Get it all on the calendar, because if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. But along with the important items that you have, the most important items are your personal stuff, right? Put on your sleep time, put on your eating time, because you have to do that every day. Don't wing that. because then you can't do the things that are important to you in an effective and efficient way. So the more intentional you are, the more plans you have for obstacles and challenges that come your way, like create strategies. I think that's the most beautiful skill we could have, is creating strategies around the obstacles that we know are going to come up. People are like, you don't understand, I got distracted. I'm like, creating that own distraction for yourself. So be intentional.
It happens to me, I think, 3 times a week, where it's like I'll force myself to like a fake distraction. It's like, I need to get this done. And then I do
it all day long. I'm like, sit down. I'm like, oh, I have an hour and a half to do this thing. And it's like, oh, for sure, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to get a glass of water. I need a little bowl of nuts. Like, I mean, it's just, that's all nonsense.
It's human nature. I was just on the phone with Steve, and we were talking about just like human nature is going to get in the way. But as long as you're aware and actively trying to like get past it, that's what matters.
Yeah.
And the problem is, especially with a lot of people my age, I'm only 22 years old. A lot of my 3 roommates are still college students. One just graduated. 2 others are college students. They're just not aware. Like,
we're not taught.
Yeah,
we're not taught how to be aware.
No one's taught. They don't teach that in school or anything.
That is my mission. My mission is to normalize emotional and mental healing through nutrition and to create awareness. But the biggest is to impact our young humans like you.
Like, a lot of it's like, oh, I don't feel well today. I'm anxious today, or I feel lazy. I feel depressed today. Why? There's a reason why. And I don't want to be the one to tell you every single day, because that's not my position. They need to learn it themselves. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just being aware. It's as simple as that.
And it's not that simple. We have to learn how to become aware.
It's not, knowing what to be aware of is not easy. Mm-mm. But the simple step of being like, let me take a second. Why do I feel this way? That's not that hard.
No, it's not. And, we can definitely have a whole nother episode. But when you have that many thoughts running through your head, your brain's like Google. Whatever you ask it, it will answer, right? The problem is we usually ask a bunch of negative questions, so we get negative answers, right? If I say, why doesn't my boss like me? Or why can't I connect with my husband? Or why can't I talk to my kids? Yeah. Your brain, why doesn't everything ever work out right? Because your brain will say, because you're an idiot, you're stupid, you don't ever do what you say you're going to do, you're not committed, all these things, right? But if you ask yourself really good questions, your brain will answer that too. Like, how can I connect with my kids today and make it really fun? Yeah. Or how can I clean my house today and make it really fun? Yeah. Your brain will answer. I'll be like, turn the music on, girl. Yeah. Turn it on louder than the vacuum. And dance while you're doing it.
That's a really good point. It's just switching that question you asked yourself. Yeah. Thank you so much. I want to give you a hug before we go.
This is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.